All right, so today I'm going to demonstrate the real power of TIntri. And to everybody out there who doesn't understand why I'm so fanatic about it and why I think it works the best and why there's no other piece of storage, single storage for virtualization on the market that can touch it, I could tell you countless stories about customers who have used the TIntri to recover in seconds or minutes, whereas it would have taken hours to come from backups, even disk-based backups and so on. At the end of this video, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. If you don't pick it up while you're watching the video, now that I've given you a hint, just to give you an idea on speed and where we are and what TIntri is doing today. TIntri products today, all the new ones are released on NVMe. Part of that reason probably is because smaller, faster, and other types of disk are, slowly becoming obsolete, just like everything else in the world. We need to update. So what I love about TIntri is its speed, the analytics. You don't need any formal training. I mean, we have customers who have all the big names out there, and you go to school for 2 weeks to learn how to turn it on, and then you spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. You got to calculate your LUNs and volumes and all that stuff. And then when you're done, what actually happens is you spend the rest of your days just watching and monitoring and so on. Nothing I've seen can do what this box does. And the first time I was exposed to this box, I've told this story many times, is I was sitting by a customer into Newark, New Jersey, to a data center. Not such a nice area, and I'm waiting around for these guys to come in. These two guys show up, one in a suit and one dressed in business casual attire, and they come with this big box on a cart into the data center, and it's just me and them. And they introduced themselves, and they said, I looked at the box, I'm like, TIntri. I'm like, I never heard of that before, and realized I had a good 20-some years in this field experience. And when they came in, so what is this for? Like, oh, this is the storage going to fix your problem. Now, to give you a little back end on the customer had continual problems day in and day out. They were a mortgage company giving out loans, and there would be 5, 6, 7 of us on the phone. Trouble, is it a server issue? Oh, network slows, the network issue, and everybody trying to come together. And somebody new came in and said, we need to try TIntri. So they brought one in, they bought it to replace a big box that begins with an EQ. I'm not going to go any farther than that, but you can probably figure out who it is. That was just performing like crap. It was old and needed to be changed, and just was all volumes and LUNs. And when you first put a box with volumes and LUNs, you put it in, you calculate what you need, you decide which files go where, which logs, if I'm doing Exchange or SQL or whatever, and splitting logs and so on. But over time, you're upgrading servers. Server operating systems change, disk sizes changes. And over time, you'll just find that, it's not the same as it was. It changes so much that within a year, you may need to resituate where all your devices are, and you may even need to change your volumes and LUNs. TIntri gets rid of all that. You don't need any of that stuff. It's wicked fast. It's built on NFS. It's virtualization only. It's only used for virtualization. It is a hardware appliance. It's fully redundant. I mean, not only is it redundant to itself and the controllers, but each controller is redundancy within itself. And it works. I mean, I've literally, in the middle of the day, ripped controllers out of the back of a TIntri while it's writing SQL information to demonstrate to a customer that it actually works. The product's phenomenal. Oh, don't do that. You're going to break it. Nope. I'll just yank it right out, the active processor right out of the unit, and no issues. Failover seamless. It's very, very nice. Anyway, so what I wanted to show you today is actually how fast it is, because with ransomware and malware and all these guys getting into your systems, people are taking lots of backups. They're sending them here, they're sending them there. They may be using the 3-2-1 backup system. They may be using whatever method you use, but you've got tons of backups. The problem is backups take time to restore. And if you're sending to the cloud and you've got terabytes or petabytes, good luck on getting that back anytime soon. I don't care how much bandwidth you have. I don't care. Unless you're one of a few huge companies, it's going to take a while. So even backups in-house, even on 10 gig, the restore times they take time. I'm going to show you today that I'm going to take a server that we built as a test server. It's got a 10 terabyte disk and a 100 gig disk on it, running Windows 2016. And it doesn't matter what the operating system is, whether it's desktop or server, as long as it's virtual. I'm going to show you that I can snapshot that box in less than a second. I can restore it in less than a second. And as a matter of fact, I can not only restore it once, I can restore it 10 times, 20 times, 50 times in just about a second, second and a half. So we allow the TIntri system to take snapshots either once a day, every 4 hours, every hour, whatever schedule you want, and then we have multiple snapshots up to 180. But when it takes these snapshots, it doesn't interfere with the Windows operating system or the Linux operating system. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even interfere with VMware. It's fully integrated into it because TIntri itself was designed by the guys who actually 26 employees at VMware as the chief engineer for ESX, ESXi. That was Kieran Hardy. And Mark Ritter was also on the project, and they developed what you see in modern VMware, or the beginnings of modern VMware. And he took it and said, I can make a piece of storage that's better than these other products, because these other products, they're building storage, the same storage, they put a nice LED, they modify the bezel, but it's the same shit. Let's not kid ourselves. Everybody comes, we're better. Sorry, bullshit. I've been doing TIntri for almost 7 or 8 years now, and I'm yet to see somebody come into my office and beat the box that I have with their box. And I'll let you in the end what that is. I don't want to quite say it right now because we'll save that for the end as a little surprise. In any case, the idea here is that you can keep X amount of snapshots on this box, 180 snapshots, I believe it is, if I got that right. Yep, 180. And I'm taking snapshots every 4 hours, every hour a day, whatever you want. And each server can have its different snapshot schedule or so on, or once a week, whatever you like. So, like I said, I can snapshot and recover that very quickly, faster than restoring from a backup, even disk-based, faster than pulling from the cloud, faster than pulling from whatever you want. There's nothing faster. We had a customer who, they closed for Thanksgiving, and the Friday after Thanksgiving, the security guard in the building was apparently opening emails or on the web, and he let ransomware into the network. He took everything down. We didn't get the call till Monday because nobody was in. And I'm like, I could have jumped in the car and go down there. It was about an hour away. And I'm driving in the car, and I forgot I'd given them a TIntri because they were using a disk array from HP before that within 2 years had crashed so many times they just said no more. They got rid of it that somebody had furnished them with. I said, try the TIntri. You'll have much better results. And on the drive down, I said to myself, wow, they've lost everything because their backups were done with a software-based backup on Windows. At the time, it was done with Veeam, and not to knock Veeam in any way, but it's based on Windows, and the Windows server got ransomware too. Now, needless to say, they didn't have good antivirus software or anti-ransomware software, and there's better products. However, at the same time, it's still running at the Windows operating system level, and no matter how many great products we put in, everybody knows that you can bypass. At some point, somebody's bypassed probably almost every vendor to get past their antivirus to drop something or close to them. So why take the risk? So as I'm driving down there thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm going to put a gun to my head. How am I going to tell this customer he's lost everything, his database, his financials, everything, because their backups were gone, and we had warned them over and over to have multiple backups and so on, and they just said they don't have the money. I got about 20 miles down the road, and I called my business partner and said, I don't know how I'm going to tell them this. I'm like, it's not our fault because they don't want to listen. We put it in writing. They don't listen, but I have to give them the bad news. And she turns to me and she says, what's the problem? I'm like, I just told you. She goes, don't you remember you put the TIntri in last month? I'm like, yeah. She goes, you also put snapshotting on every hour, or every 4 hours, I'm sorry. And I was like, holy shit. And I think the retention on it was 2 weeks or something. I forget. I'm trying to remember exactly, or maybe a week or 3 days or whatever. No, it's about a week, I think. And I was like, holy shit. So I pulled my car over the next rest stop, pulled out my MiFi, opened my laptop, and I VPN'd into their network. I opened up the browser on the TIntri unit. I saw the machines had, they're all ransomware, and I could see them. I went into their snapshots, pulled the snapshot the Wednesday night or the Thursday night, which was Thanksgiving, before the gentleman came into work and released the ransomware, and restored them. I restored all their servers. It took less than a second per server. They're up and running. From that point, they're up and running in less than 7 minutes. And that's only because their machines took a while to boot because they had so little memory in them. And they were just needed some love. These guys just didn't have a lot of money to spend. So we brought them back up, and the guy was elated, and so was I, because I thought, wow, now I don't have to kill myself, tell them the bad news because they're up and running, and then it was just taking care of the desktops. So for those of you who are actually running VDI and a full ransomware wipeout using TIntri, you can recover in, I'm telling you, in minutes. It's unbelievable. It's hard to explain until you actually see it. I've spun up 215 VDI on a TIntri in, gosh, what did that take? Less than a minute or something. It's ridiculously fast. So let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to boot up this Windows machine. It's got a 10 terabyte disk on it, an E drive. It's got a C drive, 100 gig. I want to show you, I'm going to take out some folders. We're going to pretend that it gets ransomware. And I'm going to show you how I restore it very quickly, because this is something you really want to see. There's no other vendor on the market that can do this. And I know everybody's going to come in and say I'm wrong, but nobody can do what these guys do to the level they do. There's other people that come in and show restorals and stuff, but not at this level. Not at a level where when I snapshot and restore, there's no stun on the machine, Exchange, SQL, whatever servers you're running. There's none. VMware doesn't even feel it. Nobody feels it, because it's done at the TIntri level, which is built into their operating system. And to make this very clear, people come out and say, oh, well, our system's the best because it has NVMe hard drives, or we're the best because we have the best processor. It's not the hardware that makes TIntri so great. It's hardware that somebody else builds. It's the software. It's the software that makes it run. In a world that software is defining everything over hardware, they don't care if we have a phone, iPhone, Droid, laptop, whatever, we can do all the same functions. That's what makes us different. It's the software that makes this product so amazing. So let me give you a quick demonstration of what's happening here. So here's my test VM. You can see it's powered off. I'm going to power it up real quick. And let's open it so you guys can see it. We'll bring it over here. You guys will get it up, watch it boot. It's not a super powerful machine. It's only got 2 CPUs and at this point, I think 16 gigs of RAM or something. It's not really doing a heck of a lot. But what I'm going to show you is on this machine. Let me get this over here so I can get this on, of course. I have to bring that there. This is the best part of the whole thing is now the controls for the, yeah, there we go. To send the control out, delete. The controls for my recording software are in the way. All right, let's see. Am I in? Yep, I'm in. All right, let's bring this back up. Okay, so here's my machine. So just for proof, to show you what we have, and we'll bring up computer management so you guys can see. Let's see, what do we got? Oops, sorry, I have a volume here. I could do it through here. Okay, so I've got a 10 terabyte disk on here, right? And if I go inside here, I'll see that there's some files and folders we did. Okay, so now we're going to assume the server takes ransomware. Actually, before we do that, let me show you what's going on in the TIntri. So here's my VMware environment, and here's my TIntri Global Center. TIntri Global Center is kind of like the vCenter for TIntri. All right, so I'm going to log into that. Password is not 1234, and immediately on the TIntri, I get all kinds of information, just really quick, up-to-date stuff that comes across. Tells me if there's latency. Right off the bat, I can tell. And these are the kind of tools that we use to troubleshoot customers. This can actually see many different TIntri systems, or VM stores, they call it. So what I'm doing is I'm opening the one that this is connected to now. In VMware, you'll see it show up as a storage unit. And right now I have, here's my TIntri. That's connected. You can see it's connected by NFS3 as we speak. Let's go back to Global Center, and it's telling me what this is doing, how many IOPS are running, throughput, latency, all that stuff, the flash hit, and so on. Now, remember I told you there's a little secret to here. This is not an NVMe box. I just want to make that clear. All right. So I'm going to go into my settings. I'm going to go down, and I'm going to go look. I can filter, I can just go down and get it. So I have all my virtual machines, right, that are listed here. So TIntri, yeah, you can see I have a whole bunch of snapshots. Here's my VM. This tells me exactly what it's doing, what's going on, if there's any contention, what the speeds are, the delays, and so on. All right. Remember, there's a 10 terabyte disk on this, okay? So now I'm on my test TIntri VM. I want to take a snapshot. Okay, now, if I was to take this snapshot in VMware, you darn well know that if I take a snapshot, it's going to take a little bit of time, no matter how powerful your environment is. And if it was running anything like SQL or Exchange, you'd probably get a stun on it. I'm going to show you the same exact thing, taking a snapshot in a TIntri. You ready? I'll just call it whatever I want. Blah, blah, blah. Take snapshot. 1. That's it. It's done. There's a snapshot for that 10 terabyte machine. Now, think, all right, well, big deal. That wasn't such a big deal. Now let me show you what happens. This machine, okay, decides to crash. I'm just gonna power it off. Let's just do that. Let's go back to here. I'm just going to power it off. If it crashes, it's done. And I can do this whether it's on or off. It doesn't make a bit of it doesn't make a bit of difference whether it's on or off, because the TIntri has its own operating system and works with itself. All right, powered off. Right? Okay. So we're going to go back. We're going to look here. You see that I have my test VM. You see, here's the VM. Here's the manual snapshot I took. And maybe I should make this a little more zoomed out. There you go. And you can see that I've taken some manual snapshots, but there's hourly scheduled snapshots it's been taking on its own. It shows me the change size and data when I add data to it, how much is there and what's taken away. All right, here's the snapshot I just took. Okay, now what I'm going to do, because we'll pretend the server crashed, we need to restore, or we recover from ransomware. I'm going to clone the snapshot. Now, when I clone it, it'll show up in VMware and I'll show it to you with the word clone after it. Can I leave the old server there? Absolutely, because maybe you want to look at that and do some diagnosis or whatever, or I can just delete that server and do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this. Again, remember, there's 10 terabytes on here. Doesn't matter if this is 1 gig or a petabyte. It does the same exact amount of time to do all this. Ask me when I want to clone, where I'm going to send it, and how many times I want to do it. I say clone. And if you look here, it's already made. And I can actually boot this. And it's done. So I actually have a bootable machine here. Now, before I do that, let's go back to here and say, well, listen, this machine, I need 10 copies of it. Okay? And the reason I'm going to show you, just saw it took about a second to recover that. Watch. Submitting. Done. That's it. My machines they're already sitting in VMware. This is just Global Center catching up on my machine. I have 10 machines made. That's it. Let's try it again. Again, remember, these are 10 terabyte disks on there. Okay? They're 10 terabyte disks that are being used on there. So let's go over to here. Let's pick this. Let's clone it. I don't want to make too many because I'm going to go clean them all up. I'll make 20. Clone. Submitting. And there you go. There's 25. So I've created essentially 30 clones, actually 31 because I made one by itself. 30 clones of that in there. But what I'm showing you here is that we can actually clone these machines off and make them happen very quickly and get them to run. So there you go. That's actually a quick restore of how you do it. Machines are bootable. Machines come up. They're regular machines, and you put them back into your environment. And that's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, found it informative, and remember, TIntri really works. If you want, you can reach out to us, info@starnetsolutions.com. Give us a call, 732-919-3446, anytime, if you have any questions. Or feel free to find me on LinkedIn under Lou Malagrana. Pop me questions, give me challenges. I love when competing companies come up to me and try and challenge. Oh, so let me let you in on the little secret. So like I said, this is not an NVMe box. As a matter of fact, this is a box that's running spinning disks. Okay, let me repeat that. This box is running spinning disks. They don't even make these anymore. This box is running spinning disks, and I'm able to restore and snapshot that fast. Imagine how fast it'd be with the NVMe. Okay, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. Take care.